Hare Krishna. My name is Ramarao Dugubati. I am the part of Vrindavan Circle team. I am from Dartford. Today I was asked to speak or share whatever my tiny experiences of reading Srila Prabhupada books. I would like to share with you all. So if it helps anybody, that would be nice. And also, we all are recording in different devotional practices, skills, or whatever, videos and putting in a one platform. So firstly, I would like to thank you for creating such a wonderful platform. I would like to thank for His Grace Arvinda Krishna Prabhu and Her Grace Yamuna Mataji, and also leading all that congregation and guiding us. Okay. Before invoking prayers, I would like to say something what I felt. Because this is all about reading books, Prabhupada books. So before invoking prayers, I would like to say something, because why should we invoke prayers by reading Prabhupada books? Because when I was reading Prabhupada books, this is what I felt. It's like, especially like Srimad Bhagavatam, like that, even Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. I came from, just like normal background. My father not very religious, and just some farmers and simple people. So when I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam, I felt like, oh my God, so this is what qualification I have to read this such a subject. I felt so many times. This is I have either in my family nor myself have no connection with this kind of stuff. I didn't have done anything definitely to read, at least to be qualified to read that. So, but it's purely because of the Prabhupada's mercy and all our previous Acharyas' mercy we are reading today. Nowadays all the wonderful books of Srila Prabhupada. So that's why. So we were able to get all these books by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and all wonderful Acharyas. So we'll invoke quickly the prayers and then we'll talk. Okay. Om Agnan Timranda Shikranjan Shalakai Chekshun Tamiyan Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chetina Manovishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swamiro Kadamayam Dati Sabadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Padakalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Chasirupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatha Madhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagan Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Randavaneshwari Rishabhanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchakalaptara Vipech Kripa Sindhu Vyavachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutala Srimad Jiptaka Samit Ramani Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Guru Padaya Gauru Katadam Danagrigam Tani Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutala Srimad Bhaktivinoda Swami Ramani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharani Divisha Srinivadi Pachar Destarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So okay, I'm just reading. I written few synopses because I don't want to waste your time talking something else. So introduction of Prabhupada books reading. See, so the Prabhupada books is the output of the teachings of all the it's output of the desire of his Guru Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. Okay, so we all know that So the Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj is called that as a Sankirtan. Sankirtan means distributing Prabhupada books. That's the main activity. He called it as a Bruhat Mridanga. So Mridanga means reaching the sound or vibration to a larger audience. Probably 1 or 2 streets if you're playing. Bruhat Mridanga means it's very big, reaching to too far and wide. So that's why this is called Brahat Mridanga. And also Prabhupada books are like distilled wisdom. So why I said, the reason is, so the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the knowledge from not only Gaudiya Sampradaya, he picked up the knowledge from all other Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, Ruddha Sampradaya, Vallabha, all Kumar Sampradaya and our Sampradaya. All the put in here. He took it two to 2 points and essence of all the Sampradayas, and he gave us. And after Mahaprabhu, a lot of so many acharyas, we all know that. So Rupa 6 Goswamis, and after that so many great acharyas, Baldev Vidyabhushan, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura, and great acharyas. So they all, they gave commentaries and written so many purports, so many books. Prabhupada read all of them, not only in our Sampradaya, even other Sampradayas. So he read all the books, and he read and he digested everything and he practiced. And then the essence is, and also the essence is given in his books. So those are Prabhupada purports. The purports of Srila Prabhupada are the essence of all the Vedas in all Sampradayas, not only our. That's why when we read Prabhupada books, when we were talking with other Sampradayas, we can understand, oh, we know this. So, but we understand in a proper perspective, in a step by step. So it would be, that's why you don't need to read any other books also. You feel like, oh, we know all this stuff like that. Many times I have seen that such cases. And also, that's why we call as reading Prabhupada books is like distilled wisdom. A great distilled wisdom means Prabhupada read everything, and he presented everything in the books. That especially the presentation is so nice that Prabhupada knows exactly how these modern people, modern man and woman, how they work, how they operate, their minds and all everything. So, and he just presented exactly these very typical subjects, concepts in such a very understandable way, simple and understandable way to the modern world, so that we can understand, we can read and understand. So that's one thing. And another point is, he presented for modern age exactly how they can understand. And these books changed, we all know, from last 60 years, 70 years, it changed the millions of hearts of the people all over the world. And another thing is, actually, the reading is the very powerful medium to acquire knowledge. The reason is, we may hear lectures, we go, that's nice, wonderful, because when we are hearing from somebody higher than us, we learn many things. So, but reading Prabhupada books, because reading, when you're hearing lecture, you can sit down and think so many things. But even nobody notices that. You may be just appear like listening. So, but when you're reading, you can't do that, because when you can try. I mean, we all know that. So, if you are reading and thinking something else, you can't do it, and you will close it. So that's why reading is a very powerful medium. And on top of that, reading Prabhupada books is such a powerful thing, activity. And also, the another point, okay, so reading and contemplation, the contemplation is very important. Otherwise, we just read it and go, okay, I finished Gita 2 times, 3 times, like that. No. So contemplation is very important. Like, okay, you finish that some half an hour or 45 minutes according to your time, consideration, or whatever. And then you just close it and think just, a minute or two. So the essence what we have read. And also while going outside here and there, like you're traveling or you're doing something else, probably, when you get an opportunity, we can contemplate on that. The contemplation is a very powerful thing, because that creates, and we can remember whatever. If you contemplate on some subject few minutes, and you just remember forever. Yeah. So that's a very powerful thing, contemplation. So that we can read that, we can do that one. Uh, and another thing is, um, don't neglect Sanskrit verses and words or anything in Srila Prabhupada books. I really love it because I read each and every bit of that, because Prabhupada put so much effort on that. At least one time we have to read each and every word of Prabhupada written, um, so because the Sanskrit words, most of mostly some of them are most of them are Indians. So once you start reading, you will realize it, because so any Indian language somebody knows, they can take advantage of reading Prabhupada books. The Indian language, because the words and all, so many are directly connected to Sanskrit. That's why you keep reading. So after a few days, you will be knowing so many words. The same words are coming, repeating, pashyanti, cha, like, many, so many words repeating, it's because of that, it's easy for us to remember any the shastra, because if you are familiar, if you, at least to some extent, if you get some familiarity with the Sanskrit and words, it's easy for us to remember, and because that remembering and memorizing the verses is a very nice thing, and it helps us in so many ways. For example, I had one experience recently, like recently I was just doing some other course, and there one verse was there, chapter 244, okay. भोगैश्वर्या प्रसक्तानां तयापाकृत चेतसां व्यवसायात्मिक बुद्धिः समादौ न विधीयते. So it's basically the meaning of that verse is, if anybody is involving in develop attachment to the sense gratification and material opulence, so the devotional service will never take place in his mind. So this point, this is somehow or the other, if you remember this verse, when you are going some shopping outside, we are dealing so many things, okay, it's easy for us to trap or for some opulence things or materially very sophisticated, material opulence. So I mean, at least some verses in Bhagavad Gita, like, because, 5th chapter, I mean, there are so many in Bhagavad Gita like that. Just tell you just one or two. In 5th chapter, 22nd verse, Yei samsparshaja bhoga dukkayone evate adyantavanta kaunte nate shramate buddha. So this verse, if you remember always somehow or the other, so it will help us to keep out of sense gratification, like unwanted, unnecessary sense enjoyments and sense gratification. Krishna says that if the senses make a contact with the sense objects, so there is a kind of, so we call that as a pleasure, but that's a material enjoyment. So, memorizing the verses will help us. So then how can we memorize it? Yeah, this is, everybody have their own strategy. We all are, when we were writing in children, like, school ages, we remember, okay, to write down some synopsis, to remember some 8 synopsis, and then we write down. We remember the first word, first letter, like that. And everybody have their own way. So I do follow some, I take as a shloka cards. I take a screenshot of the shloka, nicely make it large with my bold letters, make a shloka card and put it in your screensaver in a phone. It's you don't have to spend separate extra time for that, and how many times we swipe it, so many times in a day, like tens of times. So at least even few times you read, just it takes only few seconds, then it's easy to remember. Like that we can remember shlokas. But before we remember a shloka, we have to read one time that shloka nicely, end to end, and the meanings and translation and the purport, the what is the context of this verse and shloka, the teaching, and what should I understand. And then you try to memorize. it's easy to memorize, but when you understand what it's all about, it's easy to memorize. And later on also we remember when the situation arises, context, we remember that one, and we can in our preaching also it will be very helpful, because especially when we are talking about Indian background people. So when you say along with your test statements, when you add these things, it would be very nice, so they feel very motivated, and probably you may get, so they may listen you when you are preaching something. So that's thing, and a few other things as phone wave surprise. Okay. So how can we generate interest of reading? I think there may be so many ways. One of them is I found is in myself, when I'm reading like some Bhagavad Gita, one chapter, or Srimad Bhagavatam, each and every chapter has within a chapter there is a there are so many shlokas. There is a connection. Next sloka, there is a connection, link. And if you take Srimad Bhagavatam, very nice philosophically presentation and stories, pastimes. So there is a connection between each sloka and each chapter. If you're reading regularly, you will feel that little, oh, I have to read what happens next. So what Krishna said next. Oh, this is what that. So you feel a connection. Sometimes I really experience that. When I sometimes some days you are reading regularly for 10 or 15 days. That time I was feeling like every day I used to go, okay, I have to read this today, half an hour, 45, I have to finish this chapter. Like, wow, what is saying this, that. Every day I feel like it's pulling me, But when you stop and once in a month or twice you are reading, so you feel little bit and read it and you go. It's like, so reading every day creates or generates interest. It pulls you to read Prabhupada books. So that is a nice thing. So and also when you do contemplate nicely books, then wherever you go outside, you see, Prabhupada says, when you go out, you see anything, you remember Krishna. Like, for example, Rasoham apsu kaunte, Krishna says, I am the taste of the water, like that. So when you go to outside, when you drink water, but when you remember the Sanskrit line, we remember Krishna, drink water, oh, taste of the water, Krishna, like that, like that many, So, yeah, that's, I would like to say that. So the memorization about just reading Sanskrit, remembering the verses, memorization, follow your own techniques to memorize the verses and all. So that will help every day, reading, memorizing your verses, reading. So, it's already, I think, a lot of time. So I would like to conclude the words that, so reading Prabhupada books is such a wonderful and auspicious and a best welfare activity for any living entity. So you do see, when we are reading Prabhupada books, when we go outside and when we are distributing books, we can talk very confidently and we can give them. If you don't read, it's difficult to give them books, and also it's difficult to preach in when some people are asking like different questions outside. So if you are reading not only all the small books, also if you are reading all nicely, no matter which way they are coming and asking questions, you can still say something. Because so you have done groundwork. So that's what I would like to say. And finally, I would like to say thank you very much for watching this video. So please forgive me for any offenses. I am sure I didn't even cover 1% of and to say Prabhupada books reading, but just a few points I am just mentioning here. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalptarabhya kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavane vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hri Bol.